Okay. Is that working? Super. Okay, so I was so stressed about this TEDx talk that I actually broke my hand. No, but jokes apart. I want to start by thanking Meghdut and Pauline and, Techno India for doing what you're doing, and Offbeat is fabulous. And every friend I have in the city, every artist I know, the first thing I ask them when I meet them is, have you been to Offbeat? If you haven't, you must. And I have personally brought in so many people to see Offbeat and see their space and do things here, I hope. Only more can happen. Okay, so as Meghdut introduced me, I'm a dancer and arts manager, and let's spend a little bit of time talking about art. So an artist, I believe an artist is a square peg in a round hole. He's a forever misfit. He's unconventional, he's eccentric, he's weird, he's extra sensitive, extra ordinary. In other words, an artist is offbeat. What makes him offbeat? But before that, how many of you will agree that art is useless? What do you think? Heartily agree, heartily disagree. I'm sure if you're an art lover or an art practitioner, you've heard it at least once in your lives. Mane, what is your real job? What do you do for a living? Oh, no, but you don't do anything else. I'm sure you've heard that before, And unless you are really famous, I just wonder what you would have said in your defense. Because us as art lovers and artists and art, practitioners, do we really believe that art is useful? Is it supposed to be useful? What is the value of art? Why should we value it? What are its benefits? Why is art on the margins? Why do artists always have to struggle? I think these are questions that we might explore a little bit. Who is this artist? An artist, in Hindi we call him the Kalakaar. He is somebody who gives Aakar to Kal, which means shape to time. Or Aakar to Kal, shape to tomorrow. So this is somebody who can hold time and still time in what he creates. Doesn't that sound very powerful? It is. And that is why governments and bureaucracy and politicians are so scared of the arts. We've all heard of the Charlie Hebdo shootings. We know of the thousands of artists and intellectuals who were killed in Cambodia during the Khmer Rouge. In the Soviet times, people who used to make music had to actually use discarded X-ray film to make their music records. And we know of numerous such things happening in India and in many other countries. In a recent Supreme Court ruling on the release of a Bangla film, the court argues, interestingly, that art, the true purpose of art is to provoke and to question. And art in its elemental sense is the human urge to question the very values on which human society is built. And an artist has the full freedom and liberty to actually question everything on this journey of entertainment, mind you, and self-reflection. And the court says that irony and satire are worthy companions in this journey. So as we could see, art can disrupt. Why? Because the artist can imagine a reality that a lot of us can't see, can't even think of, and cannot imagine. Okay, now coming to the benefits of the arts. So you would have met people who say, oh, I love dance. Oh, I'm crazy about music. I cannot live without painting. And in fact, that's the sort of defense that most people say, that, oh, why do you do photography? Oh, I love photography. So what does that mean? It isn't that I dance for weight loss, or I paint for better visual coordination, Or I make music because I get better sleep at night. No. This pleasure of the arts is a sensory, very private, personal, very mentally stimulating, and very, very almost spiritual experience for the person who loves the arts. And these I call are the intrinsic benefits of the arts. But you know, the state and the government and the funders, they are looking for the more instrumental benefits, you know, like economic regeneration, better patient recovery, teamwork skills, blah, 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 which are the instrumental, benefits of the arts. But where does, where is the real value? Where is the real value of the arts? I'm sure a lot of you might be asking, okay, we've heard of all these benefits, but are the arts economically sustainable? How does an artist make his money? Are there any monetary benefits? And I want to take an example from London for this, where the creative economy is equal in size to the financial services sector. It employs as many people, and the way the turmoil in the financial sector is going, the creative space is a very good space to be. The way that film and fashion and music have also been performing, I think there are huge economic standoffs. I'm sure a lot of you in the audience would have caught the show of Endgame yesterday at 5 a.m. And how much did you pay for those tickets? Just try that. Try booking a seat for a well-known play. Try getting a table at a good restaurant. Tourism is holding up. There are more people going on walks with Ifti. What is happening? People are trading experience over goods. People are willing to let go of their consumption of goods, but they're not willing to let go of their production and consumption of art and culture. So definitely, culture is moving from something in the sidelines to something bang in the center. The other example is in, foreign relations. We see that we are meeting new people every day from other nations. We are traveling. The world has become really small in the age of in the age of news and internet, and we need culture to understand these new people that we meet. But now, where does the artist make his money from? Well, there are very limited sources. Of course, there is no royal patronage anymore. There is very limited public funding, and it is there, but it is fairly difficult to access. There is also commercial funding, where the artist has to sell what he does to a brand or to a business house or to a channel. And there is homegrown funding, that is from ancient times, your folk art and your folk activities, to now the underground scene, the punk, the garage, the YouTube upload, and the levels, the entry level for that kind of art and funding is fairly easy to do. So there are various ways. Now, where does Arts Forward, what I do, fit in to this story? But before that, when I started as a dancer 20 years ago, and I joined Sapphire, I thought I was embarking on a very difficult journey, because not only had I started training for a dance form that was extremely difficult to practice and understand and present and perform, but as a woman, I think I was one of those first 4 or 5 women in the entire country who were trying to do this very new form of dance which looked like acrobatics, had a strong language. And what did I have then? I only had my body. And I had the sensibility and a context of a young person in the late 90s trying to make sense of the world she was living in. But that's where my dance began. When I started Arts Forward about 9 years back, I was still a dancer who saw that there were a lot of opportunities for artists, but very few opportunities actually reached them. And having juggled a corporate career along with my dance career, I figured that I was in a place to do something about that. People who had a story to tell, but they didn't have the ideator or the teller. I felt that artists suited that role perfectly, because artists are the best ideators and they can really be on the job and do it well. So I thought that we could bring the two together in one place for the larger good of the community, because artists and brands together were able to create experiences that the people at large could value and remember. So that is why you see all these various brands, from Microsoft to the Tata Trusts. They all, when they met me, their brief was, we want to do something exciting so that people really enjoy the event, so that people really enjoy this initiative. And in the last 10 years, I've worked with more than 50 such businesses. They could be NGOs, they could be top-notch, corporations. They are art festivals. There are various kind of festivals who all needed wording and telling. So that's what Arts Forward has been doing, bringing artists and businesses together to create experiences for the community. In just 2 years before, we started another platform. It's a crowd-funded dance platform called At the Still Point. And the point of this platform is to A, that it is crowd-funded, because we want the audience to take a step towards the artist. The artist is alone. He is doing everything from training to creating to getting funding to promoting, everything on his own. So we want the audience to take a step forward and meet the artist midway, instead of just coming to the show and say, oh, it wasn't good enough. So that's why it is a crowd-funded platform, and we present homebred and really radical discourse through dance. So that's what we've been doing, and I want to finish by saying that the city, I woke up with, on a walk with Iftikhar, and it really opened my eyes to the city, and suddenly I found me, a dancer, inside the proscenium, performing in the darkness to an audience that I couldn't see. I felt that here was the perfect stage. I mean, Calcutta and its streets and its spaces and all its nooks and crannies are the perfect space for art. All kinds of art. It could be visual, it could be performing, and there's such amazing crafts. And believe me, this city, where my birth, my heart, my work, my art, they're all in this city. And I still think that the city has a strange rhythm which is definitely offbeat, because it really inspires us, motivates us, and I think it teaches us to be tolerant, open, and offbeat. Thank you.